Imagine stretching every dollar in the 1970s kitchen where simple tricks turned leftovers into meals that tasted like comfort itself. From soups that simmered all day to pies made without apples, families proved you didn't need money to eat well. These forgotten budget recipes will inspire your own kitchen today. Before we begin, hit like and subscribe. Today we revisit 10 recipes from the 1970s you need to eat in your lifetime. Potato candy. Coming in at number 10, potato candy, the sweet surprise of the 1970s that turned humble leftovers into a treat as memorable as anything from the candy store. Mashed potatoes, smooth and simple, were mixed with powdered sugar until they transformed into a pliable dough. Rolled out and layered with peanut butter, it was sliced into spirals that looked as playful as they tasted. The first bite always caught people off guard, creamy, rich, and fudgy, with no trace of potato left at all. Families often gathered in the kitchen to make it together. Children dusted in sugar as they spread the peanut butter and cut the rolls into neat little squares. It was sticky, sweet fun, a tradition that blended thrift with joy. Potato candy reminded families that ingenuity could sweeten even the leanest days. With just a few simple ingredients, it created moments that lingered long after the last piece disappeared. Don't forget to subscribe for more nostalgia and retro memory. Chicken and dumplings. Coming in at number 9, chicken and dumplings, the soul-soothing bowl that defined comfort in the 1970s. A whole chicken simmered for hours, giving up its richness to create a broth so fragrant it could warm the whole house. Into that golden liquid went spoonfuls of soft dough, puffing up into fluffy dumplings that floated like clouds. The kitchen filled with steam and the gentle bubbling of the pot while children peeked in, eager for the moment the dumplings were ready. Each bite combined tender chicken with pillowy dumplings, a pairing that seemed to heal both body and spirit. Families leaned close over steaming bowls, the worries of the day slipping away with every mouthful. This dish wasn't just about sustenance, it was ritual, patience, and the reminder that the best meals took time. Looking at the last 3, skillet, cornbread, tater tot, hot dish, and chicken and dumplings, if you could sit down to one of them tonight, which would you choose? Tater tot hot dish. Coming in at number 8, tater tot hot dish, Minnesota's proud gift to the 1970s dinner table. It was a casserole that balanced thrift ease and pure delight, the kind of meal that silenced a hungry family in minutes. Ground beef, browned with onions, then folded into cream of mushroom soup and frozen vegetables, all topped with a perfect crown of golden tater tots. As it baked, the kitchen filled with a savory aroma, while the tots crisped into a crunchy blanket, sealing in the hearty filling below. Children loved picking off the crispy tops one by one, while parents appreciated how far a single pan could stretch. At church suppers and neighborhood potlucks, this dish always returned home scraped clean, a sure sign of its success. It wasn't fancy, but it was family food at its finest. Simple filling and made with love. Skillet cornbread. Coming in at number 7, skillet cornbread, the golden cornerstone of so many 1970s suppers. Before fancy bakeware and endless varieties of bread, families turned to a trusty cast iron skillet, hot with a layer of bacon grease, ready to transform simple cornmeal into something extraordinary. The batter hit the pan with a satisfying sizzle, the edges crisping instantly while the center baked tender and fluffy. When it emerged, the cornbread carried a deep smoky aroma from the bacon fat, its crust a crunchy halo around a warm buttery heart. Served in thick wedges straight from the skillet, it accompanied soups, stews, or sometimes stood proudly as the meal itself, with nothing more than a pat of butter or a drizzle of honey. Around the table, the contrast of textures, crispy outside, cloud soft inside, reminded families that even the simplest grain could be elevated into comfort food worth remembering. Wacky cake. Coming in at number 6, wacky cake, the chocolate miracle of the 1970s that needed no eggs, no butter, and no milk to rise tall and proud. Born out of Depression-era ingenuity, but carried into the kitchens of the 70s, it was a dessert that proved limitations could spark creativity. Flour, cocoa, sugar, oil, vinegar, and water were mixed right in the baking pan, bubbling to life as vinegar met baking soda in a quiet act of kitchen chemistry. The result was a cake so moist and rich that no one missed the missing ingredients. Children watched wide-eyed as the batter fizzed, a small science experiment that ended in slices of chocolate joy. This cake carried a message. Sweetness wasn't reserved for the wealthy. It belonged to every family, no matter how tight the budget. With each forkful, resilience tasted like cocoa and love. If you're enjoying this journey through forgotten favorites, hit like and subscribe to keep these memories alive. Milk toast. Coming in at number 5, milk toast, a gentle classic of the 1970s that carried comfort in every spoonful. When times were lean, or when someone in the family was under the weather, this humble dish appeared like a warm hug on the table. Slices of bread toasted and buttered were soaked in seasoned warm milk until they softened into something between pudding and soup. A sprinkle of pepper, cinnamon, or even a touch of sugar gave it character, while the steam rising from the bowl carried a scent that felt like care itself. For children and grandparents alike, milk toast was the definition of nurturing food, easy to eat, soothing to the stomach, and tied to moments of being cared for. Every family had its own small twist. A drizzle of honey, a shake of nutmeg or vanilla stirred in to make it special. This dish reminded everyone that love could be tasted even in the simplest combinations. Beans and Franks. Coming in at number 4, beans and Franks, the weeknight hero of the 1970s that made the humble hot dog feel almost sophisticated. A pot of baked beans sweetened with brown sugar and mustard became the stage where sliced Franks soaked up flavor until every bite was both savory and comforting. As the mixture simmered slowly, the kitchen filled with a rich, smoky sweet aroma that promised full bellies at little cost. The beans turned creamy, the Franks plump with tangy sauce, and the entire house felt warmer for it. Served with cornbread or crusty rolls, this dish proved that simple food could still feel like a feast. It was a favorite at family tables and church suppers alike, where a single pot could stretch to feed many. And for children, there was nothing better than dunking bread into that glossy sauce, turning supper into a small, delicious adventure. Fried green tomatoes. Coming in at number 3, fried green tomatoes, a backyard treasure of the 1970s. When vines filled with firm, unripe tomatoes that seemed destined for waste, clever cooks turned them into a dish that crackled with life. Thick slices were coated in cornmeal and lowered into hot oil, the skillet hissing as golden crusts formed. The first bite offered a satisfying crunch, followed by the bright tang of tomato inside, a flavor both sharp and comforting. The aroma of frying cornmeal drifted through open kitchen windows, calling children from outside play to the dinner table. These tomatoes were more than food. They were summer's answer to frugality, proof that every garden had hidden gems if you knew how to use them. Families passed plates of them around, savoring each bite as though it were a secret worth sharing. Thinking of the first 3, mock apple pie, ham and bean soup, and fried green tomatoes, which one would you bring back to your own table today? Ham and bean soup. Coming in at number 2, ham and bean soup, the soul-warming bowl that turned leftovers into pure gold in the 1970s. After the holiday ham was carved, the bone never went to waste. It became the heart of a meal that could feed a family for days. Navy beans soaked overnight, then simmered slowly with carrots, onions, celery, and that ham bone until the broth grew thick and fragrant. The smell filled the house, seeping into every room, promising comfort long before dinner was served. By evening, the soup clung to the spoon, rich and hearty enough to satisfy even the hungriest children. But beyond taste, it carried meaning. Families gathered with steaming bowls, hearing stories of the good old days when thrift wasn't a choice but a necessity. Each sip was a lesson in resourcefulness, proof that nothing in the kitchen was ever wasted. If you're enjoying this trip back in time, hit like and subscribe for more delicious memories. Mock apple pie. Coming in at number 1, mock apple pie, the ultimate trick dessert of the 1970s kitchen. With apples too costly for many families, resourceful mothers reached for Ritz crackers, cinnamon, and sugar to weave culinary magic. The crackers softened in spiced syrup until they mimicked tender apple slices, then baked beneath a flaky crust that fooled even the sharpest taste buds. The scent of cinnamon drifted through the house, and soon everyone gathered around, convinced they were about to enjoy a classic apple pie. But the secret wasn't just in the illusion, it was in the togetherness. Children laughed as they cracked the crackers by hand. Mothers measured syrup with careful precision, and fathers sliced into the pie with genuine surprise. Every bite was a reminder that joy didn't depend on wealth. It came from imagination, love, and the warmth of sharing something extraordinary, born from ordinary things. The 1970s were more than just bell-bottoms and disco. They were also a decade of kitchens filled with creativity, resilience, and the kind of meals that brought families together. From clever tricks like mock apple pie to sweet surprises like potato candy, each dish told a story of making the most out of what was on hand while still creating memories that tasted like love. These forgotten recipes weren't just food. They were family rituals, neighborhood potluck stars, and childhood comforts that deserve to be remembered. So the next time you crave something simple yet full of heart, think back to these dishes that turned thrift into tradition.